Let's talk to Kate Ferguson, political editor for The Sun on Sunday, who's been on this story since the very beginning. Kate, very good morning to you.
Hello.
Very good to see you. Great piece in the paper today, by the way, in which you map out precisely how difficult it's been getting information out of the government. Wouldn't return your phone calls, wouldn't answer questions, wouldn't give written answers. I mean, you call her certainly a hypocrite, and she could be a liar as well. I mean, this is very serious, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this is really serious for Angela Rayner. There's two things obviously at play now. One, did she act properly?
Yeah.
So as you just went through, she said she got bad legal advice, bad tax advice. Now she's got new advice. Turns out she did underpay her tax. She's referred herself on, etc., etc. But the crucial thing there really is, did she give the full details of that property trust to that advisor? Without those full details, no tax or legal advisor could give you full advice, proper advice.
Yeah.
So, you know, that main question is, does her defence hold up in the kind of court of the investigation, as it were? And the second problem for Angela Rayner, which is equally a very big problem, is the way this is perceived.
Yeah.
That it seems that she's hypocritical. Look, Angela Rayner is in many ways a brilliant politician, and she has climbed to the very top of politics. She's the deputy prime minister, but she did that by really attacking Tory sleaze when she was in opposition. You can comb through her speeches. She frequently accused the Conservative Party of corruption. She called for Nadhim Zahawi to be sacked or quit when he was found to have underpaid his taxes. I would say that was another Sun on Sunday story. So those who say we go after Labour and not Tories, that's ridiculous. That was actually another Sun story. And so she really is very liable to accusations that she is saying one thing in opposition and is doing a very different thing now she's in government.
Well, as you point out as well, this is a woman who has been part of a government that's wanted to put people's taxes up, not least stamp duty, ironically, and yet appears to want to reduce her own tax bill by being, shall we say, at the very least, tax efficient, which is not really in the spirit of what this government is supposed to be doing, is it?
I mean, look, everyone hates paying their taxes. You know, it's a universal truth. I always thought that they should make every politician have to kind of fill out a full, do their own self-employment tax return so they could really see how much tax you pay.
Yeah.
And that may make them think twice before they put up taxes for everyone else. But yes, look, they put up taxes in the last budget. And on November 26th this year, there's another budget, and Rachel Reeves is going to be putting up taxes. And crucially, it looks like she's going to really try and squeeze those property taxes to raise billions more. Now, you know, if you're doing that as a Labour government, it's very, very difficult to then be seen to be trying to kind of cut your taxes, be tax efficient, however you want to describe it.
And also, she talks about her tax affairs. She talks about how she only owns one property. You know, it looks like she has at least the right to occupy three. Now, she doesn't own the one in Ashton-under-Lyne because she's managed to buy her way out of it, and it would appear to be 50% owned by her ex-husband, where her family apparently live, where she goes from time to time to spend time with her children, but doesn't live there all the time. How is it then possible for her to register that as her main residence?
This is the stuff that just doesn't pass the common sense sniff test.
Right.
So if you say to someone, where do you live? What's your primary home? Now, that's where they usually have a financial interest, but it's where they get up in the morning, go to bed at night. It's where they physically live.
Yeah.
I think this is really the big unravelling for Angela. By disentangling from that family home and moving out of her constituency all the way down south to the kind of trendy Hove Coast, you know, it really raises questions about is she kind of playing the system?
Right.
So it looks like she's got one foot in the constituency, but actually her life is hundreds of miles away elsewhere.
Right. And she's got, of course, the Grace and Favour mansion in London, which she says is not her main residence, because if it was, she would have to pay the council tax on it. Now, currently, it's paid for by taxpayers. So, as you say, it looks like every single thing that she's got going on with her property situation is designed for her to pay as little tax as possible.
It's very complicated, her living arrangements, exactly, and that will always lead to questions over whether or not you're paying the right amount of tax in certain places. Look, this really goes back to the kind of the transparency you need to see ministers in public life have. People do have complicated lives. Relationships do break down. People sometimes do live between homes. That is life. We are all aware of that. But as a government minister and as a Labour minister whose entire career was based upon attacking others for the slightest whiff of impropriety, you have to be fully transparent about what you've done and make sure at every stage you're paying the correct amount of tax.
Yeah.
And that is what the great British public, the voters, will quite rightly expect from Angela Rayner. And it's the standard she held other people to in opposition. So as much as a kind of tax row, this is a hypocrisy row, this story.
Absolutely right. And people are asking me a lot of questions this morning as well about this trust and how it's possible to remove money from the trust unless it's to benefit the beneficiary of the trust, who is her son, right? So if that money comes out and gets used to be put down as a deposit on another house, i.e. the place in Hove, then if he's not living there, then how does that play?
I have to say, these are complicated questions that both you and I won't be able to fully answer, because there was obviously a settlement. We know some of the details of that now. The court order's been lifted, but lots of those details I won't have heard because they'd have only been said in court. Clearly, she had a financial stake in that original family home, and she's been able to sell that stake to her son. And, you know, I think that is just the way that it's able to work for them. So disentangling from it is obviously complicated. But I think the more kind of fundamental issue here is, if you are disentangling, if you are withdrawing from that property and taking your money away from it, are you spending the correct amount of stamp duty on it? When the newspapers challenge you on that, are you being fully transparent with us? Are you or have you been kind of caught out? Because, you know, for a long time, for days and days and days, it was very clear for Angela's team that they denied these accusations. Fully, right? We were wrong. These accusations were totally wrong. And actually, you've got the same today. You've got government ministers going on the morning round accusing people of being sexist, classist. It's nothing to do with
That's
us
not
being
what it was,
sexist.
is it?
It is nothing to do with that. It's about transparency. It's about her having acted incorrectly as a minister when she is the woman who, in opposition, went on the attack on this exact same issue.
Yeah.
I really think it's quite lazy of some people in Labour to accuse us of sexism. I don't need any lessons in sexism.
No, exactly right. Let's have a look at what Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson said on the BBC this morning.
Angela Rayner acted in good faith. She did believe that she had followed all of the rules. For the avoidance of any doubt, she sought fresh legal advice, which came back and concluded that there was additional stamp duty that was owed. She wasn't able to talk about that fully until a court order that was in place, particularly in relation to her family, had been lifted. But once that had happened, and once the fresh legal advice had been received, she made a full statement, she gave an interview on this, and she referred herself to the independent advisor on ministerial standards. I think that is the right process to follow. That work will now carry on, and it's for the independent advisor to do that work thoroughly.
God, how the mighty have fallen, eh? I mean, look, she must hate having to do that, and it's an absolute nightmare for all of them, right? But what do you reckon, in your very, very well-experienced opinion of what happens inside Downing Street when this kind of stuff's flying around? You know, what will it take for her to go?
Oh, I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. This is a nightmare scenario for Keir Starmer. 2 reasons. It's back to term week. This is the first week of Parliament going back to school. Right? This was meant to be his big reset. So he's, you know, rejigged some of his backdoor team the other day. He was looking ahead to maybe doing a ministerial reshuffle next week. But now he's facing losing his number 2 potentially if that investigation goes against her. 2 big headaches. A, nobody wants to lose a big beast minister from the front bench. You know, it's a nightmare. But this is potentially even worse because Angela Rayner is the Deputy Prime Minister, the Deputy Labour leader. And in the Labour Party, that is a powerful, directly elected post. So she has to go, and if she quits everything, you're talking about a deputy leadership contest overshadowing Labour's party conference. That is carnage. There's going to be plenty of people kind of parading around Liverpool this year trying to get those votes if we end up there in a few weeks. So, you know, Keir Starmer doesn't want to see Angela walk over this. However, if the ministerial investigation turns against her, she's gone. I think.
Yeah, I think so. But let's hope she doesn't try and hide behind that, and let's hope she doesn't try and influence it either, because that's what they'll probably hope for. That will be the last ditch gasp, won't it? To kind of go, well, if they find that I haven't done anything wrong, I can stay.
As I say, there's still questions for her to answer, and there's still this question of hypocrisy, and there is the court of public opinion, and we will see how that plays out over the next few days.
Yeah, well, I can tell you the public opinion this morning is that she needs to go, and she needs to go now. Kate, great to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Kate Ferguson, political editor at The Sun on Sunday. Let's talk now to Robert Taylor, a political columnist. Robert, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
Good to see you, sir. I can't see any way out of this for her, can you?
No, and for one reason, and you've talked about hypocrisy, but the British people will forgive a lot, but they do not forgive hypocrisy. And when you think that the last government was brought down predominantly over Partygate, which was about Boris Johnson eating a piece of cake, as far as that's what brought down the government. Boris Johnson eating a piece of cake. And here's the Deputy Prime Minister taking 40 grand off the taxpayer for housing arrangements when she's in charge of housing. It's the hypocrisy here. It's not about her disabled son. It's not about whether she took legal advice. It is the hypocrisy in saying to others, you've got to resign, yet when she gets into trouble, we're meant to have human sympathy for it. It's outrageous.
Yeah, it really is. Also, similar hypocrisy on the front of the sort of the tax demands that they're putting on people, not least on stamp duty for a start, which they single-handedly managed to raise in November with the budget of Rachel Reeves. And now she's trying, it looks like anyway, to avoid paying it.
Well, exactly. And can you imagine when the budget finally takes place at the latest possible moment at the end of November? If Angela Rayner's still there, she's going to be sitting on the front bench when Rachel Reeves brings in taxes on property. How can she do that?
Yeah.
If Angela Rayner's sitting on the front bench, and if Reeves choose not to bring in extra property taxes, people will say you're only doing that to save Angela Bacon's embarrassment.
Yeah.
Angela Rayner's.
Angela Bacon's good. I don't mind that. But this is the trouble. The point is they're now kind of hold below the waterline, like I've been saying this morning. We've had all of the previous problems. The housing minister now not paying tax on her house. We've had the transport minister resigning over lying to the police, even though she used to be in the police. Corruption minister resigning over corruption claims, now on trial in Bangladesh. And the homelessness minister resigning over making people homeless. I mean, this is about as bad as it gets, isn't it?
Well, this is meant to be the big reset. It's meant to be phase 2. God knows what Keir Starmer thinks he achieved in phase 1. It's a bit of a car crash as far as I can see. This is meant to be the big reset week. It's going disastrously badly already. And if you look at the opinion polls, which I do a lot, Labour is an absolute freefall.
Yeah.
What is this going to do to their opinion poll ratings? I think it's not just Angela Rayner who's in trouble here. Maybe Keir Starmer in his future isn't looking so great either.
Right. Well, people used to say, didn't they, at the beginning of this year, that you can't get rid of Rachel Reeves because if you sack your Chancellor, then you're pretty much the next one to go. And he must know that, and he must see the two most powerful women in his cabinet, both of whom clearly don't like each other, probably both plotting against each other. Both of them might end up gone.
He must be desperate for Angela Rayner to resign. I think that's quite clear. But he cannot sack her. I mean, it's not just that he can't.
But he tried to sack her once before, didn't he?
Exactly, and she caused merry hell for him. He's far too weak, I'm afraid, to sack her because of Rayner's position in the Labour Party and the huge admiration that people have for her in the membership. He won't sack her, so he has to hope, I think, that she will resign. And surely in the next, I would have thought, before the end of the week, if it carries on, she will resign.
Yeah, and as Kate was saying just before, Kate Ferguson from The Sun on Sunday, otherwise it starts to hang over into Labour Party conference season, which completely then kiboshes everything that they want to do.
Well, exactly. It is a perfect storm for Labour right now. It's the sort of position a lot of governments get into. They revelled in Tory discomfort. Well, they're now getting a bit of a taste of their own medicine.
Yeah, well, I can't say they brought it on themselves, is all I can say. Robert, good to talk to you.